Hi guys, Johnny Good here for Real Home Studio. Today taking a look at the Blackbird N105 version 2 Neve channel strip from Kit Plugins. And just before we dive straight in, I want to remind you guys to please like, subscribe up to the channel. If you've got something to say, please do drop it in the comments box below. So first off, I want to say a massive thank you to the guys over at Kit Plugins for providing this plugin for review. Just to be completely transparent, this isn't a sponsored review. I've not been paid to do this review, but they have kindly sent this plugin in for me to demo for you guys. Okay, so let me just take you around the controls of this plugin. A little bit later on, we'll have a look at some of the cool features, and then we'll have a good extensive look as to what this plugin sounds like. And let me tell you guys, this plugin does sound superb. I go as far to say, out of all the plugins I reviewed this year, this is my absolute favorite. So it's going to be my plugin of 2021. But more about that a bit later. Let me take you around the plugin itself and the controls. So right at the top here is where we've got our analog pre. And in order to engage that, we have to flick the switch over to mic. And then we've got a notched knob control here. Now, as we engage that analog pre-saturation, we're going to get a big volume gain. And what's really neat is the guys at Kit Plugin have brought in this auto gain feature, I believe, for this second version of the plugin. So as you dial it in, it notches down the output level. So you can set the output level wherever you want, and then as you dial that in, it's going to accommodate that for you, which is really awesome. And then you can fine tune that. You've got free movement over that fader at any time. So that's a really nice touch from the guys at Kit Plugins. Very useful. Saves you blowing your ears out as well as you're dialing that in. Then below that, you've got a saturation flick switch as well. You can just bring in the sound of the saturation on and off. Then below that, you've got a 4-band EQ with a few switches, you'll notice. So you've got high and low band, two knobs for the mid bands. You've also got these switches to switch in between shelf and bell. And for the mid bands, you've also got high Q switch as well, which you can engage or take off. Those who are familiar with Neve controls, either if you're lucky enough to have used or have a Neve desk, or more likely you've used another Neve plugin, you'll know how to use these EQ knobs, which is literally you just choose a fixed frequency and then you can dial that in or out using the knob control. So really, really simple and very musical, I always find, to use. Right at the bottom, you've got this combi knob, which is really neat, which is your high pass and low pass filters, and you can use that at the same time. So you've got your fixed frequencies here on the right hand side, and then for your high pass you've got the fixed notched frequencies too on the left hand side. And below that, a really handy switch, and that's the EQ switch. So you can engage the EQ, but you can also disengage the EQ. So if you make a change and you want A/B between the two, it's very easy to do. And this is a really, really useful switch to have on a plugin. And then next to that, we've also got our phase in and out too. On the right hand side, as I've already mentioned, we've got an output fader. And below that, we've got our analog hum. So we can dial in 3 different levels analog hum, from sort of fairly audible to not that audible, and then sort of a happy medium in the middle. So, if you want to use this plugin to its truest sense to recreate as close as possible the console, then this is something you're going to want to engage, I would have thought, just to get that overall feel and that analog sound. Of course, if you want to keep it sort of have the benefits of the characteristics of the plugin but not have the hum, then it's really neat. You can completely switch that off too. So that's the plugin and the controls. It's very, very musical and easy and intuitive to use. I really like the layout of this plugin an awful lot. A couple of other neat features. You can change the color of the fader, which is kind of fun to kind of suit you. And a really neat feature is you've got 3 different levels of oversampling. So if your computer's starting to struggle, then you can drop down the level of oversampling. If maybe you're overusing one instance of this, then you can use it at a really high rate. I would kind of think with using a plugin like this that it's really designed to be on every single track. So it's nice that you can adjust that to kind of suit how well your computer deals with the plugin itself. So that's a really neat function that they've included there too. One other neat function which you've got at the top here is this continuous switch here, which you can switch in, and then rather than being notched on the pre, you can actually just go all the way through the spectrum, which is really cool. So you can either be authentic, to the console, or you can engage that and have a bit of the digital benefit of that control not being notched. Should also include as well, they've also bundled in a whole load of presets, which is really handy. You know, these can get you started if you just want to dial in something, you know, for your drums, or you want to dial in some styles here. You've kind of got like bluegrass, classic rock, country. So they've got a whole bunch of different genres that you can just dial in and, you know, get a starting point. And that can be really handy for newcomers to a plugin like this. So, you know, they've really thought this through, got the bases covered. This is a very intuitive and pleasant plugin to use. Another really nice touch is that if you're a bit short-sighted like me, you can expand the size of this plugin just by clicking on the right-hand side here and dragging the plugin around. If you need it a bit smaller, then it's very easy to make a bit more smaller on your computer. But isn't that a nice touch? You know, you can just change manually, manipulate the size of the GUI to suit your screen. Okay, so on to the actual sound of the plugin. I've been using this plugin for a couple of weeks now, and I've got to say this plugin has just blown me away. As I mentioned at the start of the video, this is my favorite plugin of the year, and I've reviewed a lot of plugins, a lot of analog style plugins as well, and a few Neve plugins as well. And this one just has taken the biscuit. It really is very impressive. So what I really liked off the bat of this, the first day of using it, is you can just drop this plugin on any channel and it's going to make it sound better. It's really got that analog characteristic that, you know, once it's going through the console, everything just sounds that bit sweeter, and they've managed to achieve this in a plugin very, very effectively. It just sounds great. Let me give you an example. So I've got this vocal here. I'm just going to take this out for now. Now, I've already processed this vocal, already worked on this song a few months back, so I'm just revisiting it, but dropping the Blackbird up at the front of it just to see what it does to the vocal. So let's just take a listen.
Never been so alone in a crowded room. I missed the bus, there's another one coming soon. The mic is open but the doors are closed. I'm looking back at the boy, staring down his toes are froze. Those shows left me so cold. Keep the music coming like the act, I'm getting old. See people humming as they're looking through the rum and coke. But I'm broke, the man's broke, can't he take a joke? I keep fighting year to year. I'm not the sort of person that relates to second gear. I'm to the never been so alone in a crowded room.
Just brings in some sweetness. Let's bring in a little bit of that analog hum. Take a listen in the mix.
The mic is open but the doors are closed. I'm looking back at the boy, staring down at his toes are froze. Those shows left me so cold. Keep the music coming like the act, I'm getting old. See people humming as they're looking through the rum and coke. But I'm broke, the man's broke, can't he take a joke? I keep fighting year to year. I'm not the sort of person that relates to second gear. I'm sure the never been so.
Now listen to those backing vocals. I've done the same thing, but I've also engaged a little bit of EQ this time as well, and a little bit of the pre as well. So let's just take a listen. I'm going to switch the Blackbird off.
I missed the bus, there's another one coming soon. The mic is open but the doors are closed. I'm
now
looking
engage
back
the
at the
plugin.
boy, staring down at his toes are froze. Those shows left me so cold. Keep the music coming like the act, I'm
Check the
getting
EQ
old.
out.
See people humming as they're looking from the rum and coke. But I'm broke, the man's broke, can't
Plug
take
in
a
off.
joke. I keep fighting year to year. I'm not the sort of person that relates in second gear. I'm to the never been so alone in a
Back
crowded
in.
room.
Let's get the EQ back on.
One coming soon. The mic is open but the doors are closed. I'm looking back at the boy, staring down at his toes are froze. Those shows left me so cold. Keep the music coming like
So that's with the plugin engaged.
See people humming as they're looking through the rum and coke. But I'm broke.
Let's take the plugins off.
Take a joke. I keep fighting year to year. I'm not the sort of person that relates to second gear. I'm sure the never been so alone in a crowded room. I missed the bus, there's another one coming soon. The mic is open but the doors are closed. I'm looking back at the boy, staring down.
Sounds really sweet.
Those shows left me so cold. Keep the music coming like the act, I'm getting old.
So as a vocalist, it really shines on vocals, and that's really doing not very much at all, just having a quick play around. Again, on that main vocal, it's literally just going through it and it sounds superb. Okay, so let's next take a listen to the Blackbird as it's really intended, going all the way across the mix on every track. Okay, so on this next track, I've got the channel strip running through each individual track. So I've got it on the drums, the bass, the guitar, piano, and there's some bells in this track as well. First off, I just want to show you it on the guitar. So let me just bring these guitars up, and this is without the Blackbird engaged. So double track nylon guitar. Just going to engage the channel strip. Now I've got a little bit of this pre-engaged. Let me bring the EQ in. It obviously sounds a bit thin on its own, but works really well in the mix. Let's take a listen. Take the plugin off. Back in. Top stuff. Okay, let's just have a little listen to it on the drums as well whilst we're here. So once again, here's our drum track. Just take the channel strip off. Take the EQ off. Take the pre off too, and just dial it in, just run it through the Blackbird. And on. Back off. Back on again. Let's get a bit of pre on it. And the EQ. So on the EQ here, I've just given it a little boost on the low end. How smooth this EQ is. Just leaving it pretty flat at the moment. Just run it through the mix. Finally on this bit of piano. EQ off. In and out. It's me cranking this pre. So you can hear it gets pretty distorted by this point. Again, if you want to fine tune, just flip on continuous. Get a bit more exact. Let's bring that EQ back in. So stay on the EQ. Let's just pull out a little bit more of the top end. Bring out some of those high mids. Excellent sounding plugin. So let me finally just show you what this mix sounds like without any of the channel strips. So let's just switch them all off. So that's without. Now I'm going to engage them. 9-day ride just comes to life. So there you go, that's the Blackbird N105 version 2 channel strip from Kit Plugins. I think from what I've seen reading between the lines that the original version 1, great, a lot of excitement about the sound of it, but they just had a bit of tweaking to do with regards to the controls and one or two glitches, and I can say they've seemingly really ironed those out. I've had really no problems at all using this plugin over the last couple of weeks. It just sounds great, and it is very intuitive and easy and musical to use as well. As I mentioned at the start of the video, this has got to be my plugin of the year, and I've reviewed a lot of plugins like this. It's a really, really lovely plugin, and I'm really, really grateful to have it in my arsenal to use. I've got to say, it's going to be one which I'm just going to be dropping out on every channel from now on when I'm mixing. It's an absolute no-brainer. If you're looking at investing in a Neve channel strip, I've not come across anything which sounds really anywhere near as good as this plugin, so I would strongly recommend checking out. You can head over to the Kit Plugins website and you can download this for 14 days for free, I believe, so you can try it out for yourself for a couple of weeks and have a really good play around with it, and you can decide whether it's worth dropping the money on. But I've got to tell you guys, I strongly do recommend this plugin. It's a whole load of fun, and who can complain at a plugin which just makes your stuff sound better before you've even done anything? So well done, Kit Plugins. Thanks for sending this one into Real Home Studio. Hope you guys got a lot of that review today. If you did, please remember to like, subscribe. Most importantly, have yourselves a great day.